Drivers of Reddit. What are some tips new drivers should know or be aware of? Remember that driving is the most dangerous thing you will probably ever do. Be alert, be cautious, and don't make impulse decisions while behind the wheel. Be predictable. Everything you do needs to be obvious to everyone around you. Use your turn signals to be predictable. Brake early and smoothly so as to be predictable. Understand and abide by right-of-ways to always be predictable. Don't drive way higher or lower than the speed limit because doing so is unpredictable. Accidents happen when drivers are unpredictable and confuse others around them or force them to have faster reaction times that they may not be ready for. Drive predictably. Just because somebody is being a good driver and not gridlocking the intersection does not mean you should take the right turn and fill in that empty spot. It's like this around where I live in rush hour. The rest of the time everyone obeys the rules, but as soon as Timmy needs to get to school everyone is up each other's bumper and never letting anyone in, and thus creating even more congestion. Assume every blind spot has someone coming through it. Saved my butt a few times. Also, do not engage in road rage. Not a battle you are going to ever win. When crossing an intersection with a green light, still check that the vehicles in the other directions have stopped. Also, watch out for motorcyclists as they are harder to see. I delayed for a second to change the radio one night. There was no one behind me, and a driver blasted through the red light at 50+ mph. Needless to say, I will always look both ways now. Hesitant drivers cause accidents. If you're going to pull out, do it. Don't get skittish when you're halfway in oncoming traffic. One exception. If you have to back out of a spot with no visibility, your best bet is to back up very slowly until you can clearly see the traffic. This gives others plenty of time to decide to wait or get out of the way. Also consider backing into the parking spot if you know the above situation is likely to happen. If you're passing a turn exit that you were supposed to take, miss it, especially if you aren't even in the lane closest to the turn exit. Slamming on your brakes, cutting over dividers, cutting in front of people on the ramp, etc. will only cause more issues. Take the next safe opportunity you can to get off of the road and figure out how to get where you were supposed to be. Just about all GPS apps can get you where you need to be if you have to take the next exit. There's probably even signs to get there, or you can just hop back in the highway. Pay attention. No fiddling with phones. No putting on makeup. No just reach back and get my day planner out of my backpack. Yup, adding on to this, if something falls, just let it fall. My mother's best friend was killed BC. Some woman spilled a milkshake and bent down to pick it up, crossing over into the next lane in the process. Shoulder kicks are great when you're changing lanes on the freeway. Just a quick look over your shoulder to make sure there's nothing in your blind spot will save you a ton of drama. And on the flip side, the blind spot check is supposed to be just that, a quick check. While I was learning, I had the blind spot drilled into me and came to rely on the over-shoulder check as my primary awareness of the other lane. Ideally, you should rely on your mirrors as much as possible to keep your awareness forward and make that final check over your shoulder to be safe. Giving up the right of way isn't polite, it's dangerous. If you get to a stop sign before a car on an adjacent road, don't wave them through, just go. Right of way is there to keep things predictable, so everyone knows what happens. When you forfeit it for no reason, it confuses everything, which can create accidents. Same goes for pedestrians. If you're a crosswalk and a car stops, don't wave them on unless you don't plan to cross. Just give a nod of thanks and cross quickly. When you're entering the freeway, go at the speed that those on the freeway are going. Entering the on-ramp at 20 miles per hour is infuriating to those behind you but also a danger to everyone in general. Or stop at the end of the on-ramp, which someone I knew actually did on a regular basis. Don't always let people into your lane. If you stop suddenly just to be a nice person, you could cause some serious accidents. You should always pre-trip your vehicle before going on a drive out of town. Tire pressure, oil level, coolant level, spare tire jack cross wrench, and visually inspect your car's battery for corrosion. It sucks to walk to a service station in the rain, kids. I've seen enough horror films to know what happens to people whose cars break down in the middle of a road trip. That's why I just end up staying home. If you witness an accident, no matter how minor, Pull over and offer your contact information to the parties involved. Your testimony can help to determine liability and potentially save the person who was not at fault a citation, a lot of money and a huge insurance headache. It isn't a race out there on the highway. It doesn't mean you are a loser if someone is going faster than you or is in front of you. I rarely post on Reddit, but I actually posted this about a year ago. Still relevant. When you're making a left-hand turn across oncoming traffic, keep the steering wheel straight and do not turn it until you have a safe path to make the turn. Then turn left and accelerate. If you turn the wheel left and then wait for the clear path, anybody that rear ends you will drive you into the path of oncoming traffic. Sorry if this has been said already. This is useful to know and I never thought about it before. Thanks. For at least half of drivers, traffic laws are mere suggestions. Yes, you have the green light, but no, that dude might not stop. If you feel even remotely buzzed, get an Uber or lock the doors and sleep it off. If you think your parents will be angry that you didn't get the car home before curfew, imagine how pissed off they're gonna be if you get a DUI or kill someone. As with anything in life, your safety is more important than someone else's feelings. If you don't feel absolutely sure you have enough time to squeeze in that left turn, the guy behind you laying on his horn can freaking wait. Cyclists are no less crappy than any other driver. Assume that at least half of them think they're entitled to decide when they're a vehicle to be taken seriously and when they're a wheeled pedestrian with special rights. That guy who says he has the same rights to the road as a car, he's the same man bun on a fixie that will give you the finger while illegally blowing through a stop sign while children are trying to cross. Keep your car clean. Take your trash with you every time you leave, and hit the car wash at least once every week or two. First, it's just plain healthy, but secondly, a dirty interior makes a bad impression on people. At all costs, avoid the car version of that anxiety attack you have when an unexpected guest comes over, but you can't remember if your place is a mess. Don't text, don't text, don't text, and don't text. Check your tires regularly, including the spare. Have an emergency kit in the back, including things like a blanket and a sealed bottle of water. Never pull over in a secluded area at night when you're alone. I know you want to help that guy with a flat on an unlit back road, but it's much safer to dial emergency services for him. If that squad car lighting you up with no one around isn't marked, slow down, put your hazards on, and dial emergency services to let them know you're driving to the nearest populated area. Fake cops pulling women over to assault them is not an urban legend. One of my mother's friends has been through this. Be smart and have fun. For the love of God, when you are turning off of a street and into a parking lot, do not come to a complete stop or turn wide where you enter the next lane. Presume this doesn't apply to long vehicles because we commonly need to do both those things or there will be a bad crash. Take an extra second when merging or changing lanes to realize A. How close that car already in the lane is. B. How fast they are going so you don't cut them off and cause a crash. C. Check your blind spot, aka look over your shoulder for a split second to see if a car is actually there. When you're moving from a lane onto a turning lane, please vacate the lane you're in ASAP. Don't drive with half of your car on each lane and impede traffic. That flippy thing on your rear view mirror is night mode so headlights don't blind you. Based on recent threads, apparently a lot of people don't know this. This isn't night mode, you should always use full mirror when driving. This is retard up my ass with his high beams still on mode. It allows you to do something about the situation that the guy behind you is too freaking stupid to realize is his responsibility to fix. Think about your destination and the path to it ahead of time. Know what lane you should be in to get to that destination so that you do not swerve across the road or suddenly stop all traffic because you need to get over to the right lane to turn right at the last moment. Do not drive right behind another vehicle. Keep at least 2 car lengths behind the vehicle in front of you. I don't know how many accidents I have seen where someone was rear-ended because the other driver was driving too close. You see it all the time on the highway. Doesn't mean you have to drive slow, just keep a safe distance. You should always keep enough of a follow distance that would allow you to safely stop if the person in front were to suddenly slam on their brakes. If you're not far back enough to safely stop, you're at fault. Assume everyone around you is a moron. Do not trust them to make smart decisions. Leave plenty of room and always look twice. Check your blind spots. Use your turn signals. Don't change lanes in an intersection. If you're first in line in a turn lane, it's on you to be ready for that light to turn green. You aren't 5 cars back. Stop looking at your phone. Don't use those insanely bright headlights. I think I speak for the rest of humanity when I say I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and only you. But most of all, be patient and understand the laws. Sometimes people drive slow. Sometimes you can't safely pass a cyclist and have to go slower than you'd like. These are things that just happen. It's not worth causing an accident or potentially killing someone. You getting to your destination 1 minute faster probably doesn't make a bit of difference. But if you get impatient and do something stupid, it could potentially alter someone's life, including yours. Don't create your own traffic laws by stopping your vehicle in moving traffic to let someone pull out or turn left, because your misguided attempt at altruism is more likely to cause an accident. If you let off the gas, your vehicle will coast and decelerate slowly. Do so when you see a red light up in the distance or when you see traffic slowing. It will save your brakes. Treat vehicles as the dangerous weapons they are. You respect the vehicle and what it can do, and you respect the lives of everyone on or near the road. You're the boss in a car you're driving. Backseat drivers screeching directions, obnoxious passengers being noisy or trying to distract you. You can and should tell them to stuff it and pull over until they do. Ignore the phone. If it's important, pull over. Plan ahead both if you're going somewhere new and if you have to be somewhere at a certain time. Even if you're running late, once you get in that car, stop paying attention to the clock. Take a "I'll get there when I can get there" attitude. The people who are in a rush drive recklessly, speeding, weaving in and out of lanes, and pushing yellow lights. They're also distracted by their rush, all of which increases the likelihood of wrecking. If you wreck, you or someone else could get hurt or die, and being a few minutes late is not worth someone's life. Watch the cars around you. There will always be some that do not have the attitude above, and you can often tell when someone is about to do something stupid, cutting you off. For example, the car will drift over to the line dividing you and hover there for a minute. A car about to take a last minute turn will briefly let off the accelerator before they stomp on the brakes to make their turn. A driver that's lost will keep letting off the accelerator at each turn off a street. Keep a safe distance and a watchful eye. You may be a good and careful driver, but others won't be. TLDR. Treat driving like the dangerous power and privilege that it is. Don't just look at the car in front of you. Keep track of the cars in front of it and ones in other lanes ahead of you. Use your blinkers. If you are about to miss your exit, take the next one instead of careening across 4 lanes of traffic with no blinker. Use them before you move, not as you move. Safety is absolutely the most important thing to remember. Not freaking up the flow of traffic is the second most important thing to remember. You're going to be in the far left lane when you need to turn right at some point. Don't be that person that pulls across 4 lanes of traffic and make other people suffer for your mistake. Go up to the next block or the next exit if on the highway and circle back. It'll only take you an extra few minutes. Adding another, you should be able to see the road paint, at least the edge of the road on unpainted roads, through your passenger side mirror. If you can't, either your mirror adjustment is off or you're too close to the edge of the road. Use your goddamn turn signals. Nothing makes me madder when I'm driving than, is this the right one? When some dongbag just switches lanes and I've got to spike my brakes. Be selfish. So many people get in wrecks or in crappy spots because they are too worried they may inconvenience another driver or something of that general essence. The road is one of the few places where being selfish is allowed and will keep you and your passengers safe. Also, don't take this as meaning "oh, don't care about anyone else on the road and drive like a bat out of heck." I mean to focus on keeping you safe and not being awkward. The road is a place for confidence. Totally agree. Another way I like to think of it is to drive like other people expect you to drive. This mostly applies to the right of way in most situations. Basically, just don't give up your right of way to be nice to other drivers. If people can anticipate what you're going to do and vice versa, there will be much less chance of an accident. Space is life. Don't tailgate. If the person ahead has a problem, you won't have good options. So what if the occasional person slips in front of you? Over an hour's drive, we're talking seconds. Let them in, then reopen the space. Never drive faster than you're comfortable driving. Whether you're tired, or driving in rain or snow or fog, or it's something else, your priority is your own safety, not other people's attitude. If you live in the inner city and you are using your brights on roads with streetlights, get the frick off the road, you should not be driving. Tips for driving in the snow. Don't carry a bag of sand for weight traction. Slow down. Yes, even you in the pickup chat. Usually it's safest to drive at about the same speed as everyone around you, be it lower or higher than the speed limit. This is especially true if you live somewhere where nobody respects the speed limit and or you drive a smaller vehicle. Auto claims adjuster here. When you're in a parking lot, park as far away as you can from other cars. Watch for backing cars. And when you are backing out, back out straight until you are 1/2 out of your spot, then start turning your wheel. 90% of my claims are parking lot losses. Don't focus on being aggressive defensive, but instead be predictable and committed. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is slam the brakes. Almost T-boned someone once because an idiot slammed their brakes, and would not have been nearly as close if they just kept going. If someone does something on the road that bothers you or that's unsafe, let it go. Don't try to fix their behavior or let them know you disapprove. That's not your job. If someone gets mad at you for some reason, don't meet their anger with your own. Undirected oops body language might be okay, but don't make eye contact. Keep driving safely. The goal is for everyone to make it to their destination safely. Defensive driving isn't just staying in your lane and driving the speed limit. It also involves being aware of your surroundings, including the drivers in front and behind you. You need to be aware of the speed that drivers are going on the highway if you want to merge on or off. You need to be aware of drivers in your blind spot before you change lanes. Also, your mirrors are supposed to cover all of your blind spots very well. However, you should look over your shoulder anyway because it ties into the situational awareness I mentioned earlier. Remember that you are responsible for the control of your vehicle and the passengers inside. Do not make concessions for other drivers that put you at risk. If you see a deer, slow down and lay on the horn. There are usually multiple deer traveling in groups. Tooting the horn gets their attention but won't make them run away as much. I'm all about reducing noise pollution, but not hitting deer is more important. And don't swerve if you are going to hit them. It's extremely dangerous and could kill you or others. If you're waiting to turn left across an oncoming lane, keep your wheels straight instead of turned. That way if you get rear-ended you don't get pushed into oncoming traffic. It seems obvious, but keep your eyes on the road whenever possible. It's the kind of thing that people get complacent about until they end up having an accident. I speak from personal experience. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.